Greetings everyone, welcome back to Blade Bias. You will have to excuse a lot of things, the Ethernet cable, the new carpet. I am moving out. I have actually moved out most of my stuff, and this is like one of my final days actually in the apartment, so it's going to be echoey. And they also replaced the carpet without telling me, so I'm really glad that I got all my stuff out. Otherwise, I don't want to know what I would have come home to. Today, I finally can talk about this bad boy, and I not like I couldn't before, I just needed to clarify a few things with Machinewise, specifically what was particularly special about this so that I could make this video on it. If you remember, this was something that I sort of got at Blade Show, but didn't really get because I don't own it. This is a special prototype live blade Prysma Pro, not sharp, thankfully, it's just machined to be dull, that was lent to me by the wonderful Martine. Now, I talked about that whole story on the podcast. If you're interested, you can go watch that. But the short of it is, I asked Martine how many of these exist. He said, about 30. Wait, do you not have one of those? I said, no, but I'm looking into purchasing one eventually. He said, why don't you hold on to that one for a little bit and you can give it back to me later. And that was really cool of him, and I have been absolutely loving this thing since. So Martine, if you're watching this, thank you so much. I know I'm a pain in you guys' ass with the Prysma Pro, the Slift T, stuff like that, but it means a lot that you would trust me enough to lend this out for such an extended period of time. And to clarify, again, this isn't mine, but it is something that has been entrusted to me for the next little bit. And I have just been loving it. This has been my favorite Balisong, period, since Blade Show. I've been really enjoying things like my Squid Trainer, and especially my Orion S lately. I'm going to have to make a video, like another video on the Orion S eventually. Unfortunately, I don't have it here with me. This is basically the only thing I've kept on me because everything else is at the new place, but yeah, it's just fun. It's just a great Balisong. Now, what's special about this, what I had to clarify beforehand was, well, what was special about it, because Martine had told me something that was special about it at Blade Show itself, but I couldn't remember exactly what that was. I was fairly certain, but I couldn't remember exactly what he had said. So what makes this one special is that this blade is a prototype in and of itself, and then these handles are the only aluminum Prysma Pro handles that they ever tumbled before anodizing them. And that gives these handles a much smoother feel, and gives it a little bit more of a polished feeling texture, I guess, I think is what he said. But this thing, I didn't think it was possible because I already praised the Prysma Pro for being a really, really well-finished, good-feeling Balisong for the price point. This thing almost puts the normal Prysma Pros to shame because I flipped this thing for like a week after Blade Show, and then I went back to my normal Prysma Pro to kind of feel how the trainer blade feels. And the incredible difference that I felt simply just from that lack of a tumble, it just felt sharper. And this is something that I remember talking about in the review that I co-hosted with Brandon over on the Will Hurst channel. The Prysma Pro always had a tiny bit of sharpness to it, and that's what kind of made it cool, controllable, and nice. But what I didn't realize was just how much this tumble makes this thing feel even more premium. All of the edges are rounded. There's no sharpness to be told whatsoever, and it's the kind of thing that isn't immediately noticeable until you do an A to B comparison, especially if you're used to the Prysma Pro already, or used to the tumbled Prysma Pro already, and you go back to the original. It makes you kind of see it in a different perspective and go, wow, this feels so much better. It gives us a level of quality almost that their more expensive stuff has, and it's really, really impressive. I said it to Martine, and I said, I know this would probably have been a nightmare for you to implement on all of the Prysma Pros, but man, I wish a batch of these existed because it just feels that good. But the Live Blade Prysma Pro in general, I really like it. I know Will, in that review that I mentioned, I'm pretty sure he wasn't huge on it. He wasn't huge on something about the balance. I don't know why my arm is so itchy today. He wasn't into something about the balance or something like that, but I've found that it is just a fun flipper, much like the normal Prysma Pro, but maybe even a little bit more well balanced. And I don't really know why, because there's no weights in the end of the handles, and I typically prefer the Prysmas with the weights in the end of their handles. I don't typically prefer it without, because it loses a lot of the momentum that I like the Prysma for. But in this case, I'm going to throw a wild, I keep dropping it. I'm going to throw a wild guess out there and say that it's because the blade isn't as tip oriented as the trainer blade Prysma is. Think about the normal Prysma. I mean, I don't have one on me, but it kind of expands a little bit as you go towards the edge, and it gets really thick in the middle, and it kind of stays thick towards the end. Even though it does come into a point, it's kind of like I guess it's still an acute angle, but it's a bigger angle than typical. And this is just kind of like, it just kind of slowly comes up to a point in the middle. I think it just overall makes it feel a little more balanced when it doesn't have the weights in it. And I actually have yet to try it with the weights. It's something that I've wanted to do, but I just haven't gotten around to it with how busy I've been lately. But the thing just rips. I really like it. I can understand how some people like Will would think that it's weird. I can understand how a lot of people would think that the new Machinewise stuff is better. I agree, honestly. I think the Totori is a better balisong. I even think maybe the TI Susori is a better balisong. But they took the Prysma Pro, gave it a live blade, and I actually like the live blade a little bit more than my trainer blade now. And I'm really going to miss this thing, both for its premium feel, its incredibly, incredibly smooth finish, and its flipping performance in general, because it really just does anything that you want it to. It's not too handle biased to fan. It's not too blade biased to do rollovers or anything like that. It just does really whatever I want. And I have to say, it even feels a little bit more like a refined Prysma Pro. At least to me, those days where I pick up the Prysma Pro and it feels a little weird to flip, because it is admittedly a weird balance, I don't really get that here. I just kind of do what I want. There is still weirdness, don't get me wrong. This is still a long pre-Totori Machinewise balisong, but it just kind of has a flow to it, which I don't really get on the original Prysma Pro. It sort of in a way reminds me of I mean, I can't really say this with incredible certainty because it's been so long since I actually tried this. But when I put my Prysma blade on my Slift T handles, it resulted in a far more consistent feeling Prysma Pro style experience. And that's kind of what I would equate this thing to. So that's pretty much it. I'm not going to get too much more into how much I'm enjoying it, because at the end of the day, this is a discontinued balisong that, in all honesty, people probably aren't going to care about. But it's still a video that I wanted to make because it's a balisong that I've really been enjoying lately. And I'm going to be very sad when I have to give it back up. I think I missed out on an opportunity Ted had sent me or something like that, where someone was selling a live blade Prysma Pro shortly after I got this. I'm going to have to keep my eye out on it. Because, yeah, I mean, I do really, really like it. We'll see how it continues. If I remember and you guys are interested, maybe I'll do like a full follow-up video when I'm finally done with this thing and sending it back to Machinewise. But yeah, I mean, it's a great little flipper. Is it better than their current stuff? No, I don't think so. But man, do I wish we still had a balisong like this at this price point, because this thing just does what I want it to do. And I really didn't think that they could upgrade the feel of the Prysma Pro, but they did. They really did. It feels that much more premium, and I love it for that. So huge thank you to Martine for lending this thing to me for a very long time. It's been even a while I've had it already. Huge thank you to you for watching, and I will see you as soon as I drop the balisong. Okay, see you later.